Traders, what's up? What's up? Welcome back to another Relentless recap. As you guys can see from the thumbnail, the title, we went to the depths today. How did I end red on such a beautiful move? On a sweet, sweet move, very similar to what we had yesterday. You would think after that decent green day that we were in the driver's seat and ready to dominate and capitalize on this sweet PRTG momentum. Yesterday, a stock went from 5 to 23. Today, a stock is going to go from about 5 to 23. And yesterday, we knew we could have done better. Today, it's quite the opposite. Yesterday, we did at least manage to end green, and today, down at 2,700 bucks. Pastor, what in the world are you doing here? You know, this one, man, this freaking stock, it was not bad. I gotta say that I didn't give myself the best odds in terms of longevity. And I had a little too much conviction at one point in time that did lead to a bigger loss. And you guys all saw the TV show Wipeout. We don't want to wipe ourselves out, but we want to give ourselves as many attempts as humanly possible throughout the course of a move, throughout the course of a day. Now, if we look at my log here, I did do my job on most of the other stocks. LUNR, OMEX, which I wasn't watching for most of the move, so it's fair that I didn't do a big amount there. But NVVE, we'll talk about this one. Should have been a good day, man. Even with what we have here, it's all about 2K in gains right here. If we're to eliminate this loss and be green even just 800, 900, 1,000, 2,000 bucks on this PRTG, we're sitting at another 5, 6K day, right? It's a decent day. So a little frustrating, man. But going back to the beginning of everything, coming into the open, we had a couple of watch list stocks, a couple of decent stocks actually, really on the scanner earlier. So, I as usual, I did my watch list and I kind of went from there. Now, coming into the open, it was tricky because we weren't sure which stock would be the stock, the main stock. PRTG and percentages kind of came up and down as different stocks went up and also pulled back throughout the day. But we had LUNR fairly early. I did have some red trades to start on some of the other stocks, like down like 50 bucks, stuff like that. But this one, red to green out of nowhere, over 820, this thing pushed up, pushed over 840, small pullback here, over 857, pushed up to 78, 2,500 shares, got to it pretty quickly, was able to make something in this first minute here in the incline. Not bad at all. Didn't trade anything else, didn't trade anything over here, although it did look like it gave a pretty good move up, but didn't touch anything else. So nice, to get ourselves in position. Green on the day after some small red scratch trades. Now we're looking decent, up about 6, 7, 800 at this point, and looking to capture on other stocks. So next we have NVVE. NVVE comes along. It's a resumption setup, and it was textbook. This one was textbook, and we did capture the move nicely. So if we come to the log at 934. At 934, we caught this thing beautifully, dip and rip. So we're long. Let's see here. 934 NVVE. Is it 45? What time is it? E-Trade. Hold up. Okay, never mind. We got halted. We resumed at 45. Okay, that makes sense. So 45, if we come back over here to the log, you guys will see for the dip and rip entry, I'm in at 14, 2,000 shares, and I'm out at 50. Beautiful trade, beautiful fill, no complaints. We did everything we were supposed to do. I'm out at 50. The stock then proceeds to push up to 75. Or no, 60 to 60. and then it dips, and it dips to about 35. I bought as quickly as I could, and this time much more size. I believe 6,000 shares size. And sadly, sadly didn't continue. And I got a pretty high fill too. Again, we had 35. There was a small spread, but just a little disappointing to see it not continue and get back over 60 for the highs. I sold. I'm in there. I'm like, it's not going. At the moment I sell, another millisecond or 2 or 3 later, it starts to come down, and I get filled between 40 and 24. Pretty wide range there, but you know, again, it was a bit of a bigger position. I believe 6,000 shares. So part of the deal, right? Part of the deal, or 4,000 shares maybe, whatever it was. So NVVE up 600 to then red. I believe we caught some trades somewhere else that put us, you know, gave us a little something, or we might have ended net green 200. Hard to really say. Let me see here. Show trades. We're gonna go through stock by stock. Yeah. So that was it. That was it. After that, okay, I think that was a 4,000 share position. Anyhow, it doesn't matter what the size it was. The factor of the matter is that we lost on that trade, right? Moving on. So plus 200 here. Again, some choppy red trades down like $50, $70 on 2 stocks. Plus 900 on LUNR. Plus 200 here. We're sitting at about $1,000 in a day right now, and we're in control of the day. The day is looking pretty good so far. So let's pull up the archive. Did we at this point get? I think PNTR, is it this one? What is this? Yesterday's recap? Okay, there we go. I think at this point is where we got let's see, NVVE. Okay, looks like VVOS came. And we had so much going on. OMEX also, which was a stock I did not have on watch at all. I did not have this one on watch at all. And it was moving up. So I'm pulling up VVOS here, which I did look at earlier below VWAP. I'm like, hey, if it gets over the level, I'd be interested. But because of all the other action, kind of got a little distracted from watching back at it. So by the time I'm pulling it up, we kind of already had this high point here, about 380. So I'm definitely a little late to the show, missing the VWAP dips, and then the flat top breakout here for high of day. Small green, you know, only $160, and we could have done far better here. We should have done better, doing a you know, more efficient trading towards the lows. I attempted way too many breakout trades in this zone, and you know, I paid the price. I needed to be watching the dips, but you know, hindsight is 50. What do they call it? 50/50, 20/20, or 20/20. So VVOS, right? This thing comes back, and let's see, it pulls back. We're kind of scratch on it, and then I think OMEX, and then PRTG. So PRTG. Okay, let's come back a little bit. PRTG. At this point, I'm red $200. It's halted up. It's at 1367. This is what we like to call prime time, because again, I'm fairly green on you know, on the day so far. It's now a matter of just locking in on this stock and seeing what we can get. Let's see how the resumption goes. We're halted up at 67. And guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, all right? Hit that thumbs up. So 67, here we go. It resumes about 24. I try to buy for back over the level of 67. Looks like I got smaller size. It hesitates, and there's a massive spread about 20 by 60 right there for a second. Looks like I took a loss. And that's a fair trade. And if it was more aggressive, I could have gotten filled high. but it was a fair attempt for break of 67. But we can see there was hesitation right there. So, I didn't capture the move. It gets up to 14, 14.13, 14.30, 14.38. At this point, I need to wait for a pullback. This is too aggressive. Looking back at this video right here, this is too aggressive. It's too high compared to where we came from. And see right here. Right here, it was at 93 by about 70. Is it going to go lower? It is. I'm going to try again. I'm in at 70. This is a better trade. The first trade way too high. Selling into the spreads here, it's not ideal. Needed to give this more time. So one mistake on the resumption there, getting in too early. Second mistake, getting in on this dip. And I think, it's kind of a bit of a botched, choppy, play on my end. But needed to be more patient here to be in lower if possible, but also holding longer. It's churns, but I'm pretty sure we might get a bounce in this kind of an area here. If not, maybe it is a little weaker on the resumption, but it could still be worth the dip below maybe 50 if it dips below 50 here. But we do bounce back up, right? From 70, we're back at 14. You got to be in control, man. You got to be able to read the moves like they should happen. Up at 14 to sell something, sell half maybe. The high's at 14.39. If I'm in at 70, 60. Again, here we go. Boom, right there, right? Selling the other half. That's how that trade should have played out, right? So thankfully I had small size, which is the first thing. So it gives a new high of day at a only by a couple cents. And that's going to tell me that this particular dip here might not be worth it because it's still too close in proximity to high of day. Right? It's a little tricky sometimes, but and let's see how that played out. We're in 7 by 11. Spreads were kind of fluctuating a bit. There's 10 by 29. It does push back up to 44. There's 35 by 37. 29 by 34 by 44. $46. Looks like I made like $100, which is decent for this small of a position. 20 cents basically. But notice that we're right up at the 200 EMA, which is at 14.55. I think I needed to pay a little bit more attention to that, and then to potentially ease off here until this gets and starts to hold above the level. So we're going to fast forward a little bit. And it gave a colossal drop here. Let's see how this played out. Am I watching at it? Am I watching at something else? Let's see. Let's look at that one more time. Highs at 48, lows at 80. Let's see how it does. Fair. Pretty fair so far. What was that low? Like 28? But as I get filled, it comes down more. And it looks like I'm going to stop out for the loss here. Yeah, that's okay. That's fair. Fair play. I might have even given this a second, I think. I don't know. Oh, no, I stopped out. So I'm buying that dip too early. I'm buying that dip too early. And what I'm supposed to do here is buy back again. I need to buy back, try again down here at like 13 at the whole dollar. Half dollar didn't work. Can I try the next whole dollar and look for another bounce? Because if we're still strong, we can get back up there to 13.50 at least. But anyhow, I get stopped out of that. And again, 30 seconds later, we do see 13.50. And then it gets back up. So this area here, a little disappointing because I missed the dip. I missed the dip. Simple as that. I missed the dip. Ideally, I want to be in down there low, looking for the move up. And I think this is what I should have done. Let's say another thing I should have done throughout this move is stick to 500 shares, because there wasn't any sort of consistency here for me yet. share size is a privilege that I should use when I'm able to get a good rhythm and connect on the stock. So that might have been an area of opportunity here throughout the day. Let's come back. So we had the dip. It bounced up all the way to 50, then 87. There's a baby pullback in here. It looks like I'm out of rhythm. It looks like I might have hesitated on the low of the current candlestick, which had been 67. And now it's kind of just going. And we're right back at high of day at 1450. We have the 200 EMA here, but it looks like it might want to rip right through. What is it going to be? There's a high of 75. I try to take the dip over 50 to see if it pushes through right here. And I thought it was going to open up. I thought this was going to open up here, but if we fast forward a little bit, we'll see that it ended up consolidating for some time. Let's see how this dip here worked out, if I was able to capture anything. 27 by 45, 80, was that about 80? 86 by 15. I think this dip was a little too quick, so I didn't get in. Yep, this was a dip that was so quick. I remember saying that on the live stream. That was a little too quick for me to be able to get a trade in down there. So I saw 80 on the bid, but we're back at like 14.10. It's like, man, if I buy 14.10 and we just had a low of 80, if this thing does retest the low of 80, then I'm kind of in a little too high. So right here, I should be looking to get long. Pastor, brother, sailing, sleeping, the wheel, not good. The only thing I can think of right here is that I waited, like I might have waited for even more, like a little bit more red on the tape. But, and there's a small spread, but hitting the bid right here, I think is fair enough. And even if it flushes out, I can try to re-average, and then, let's say it drops down to like 60. I could try to get back in at 60 for the bounce back up. But we can see there's a spread. It is a little volatile, but I think that's a missed opportunity there to buy like 95 at least. 95 is decent. 95 back to 20, selling half on the ask if possible right there. And then, can we sell another half on the ask here at 40? And really and truly, it's a trade I could even try to hold all the way back to like 60. But I like to sell a little early from time to time, right? It came down 90, and so this is where it's like I'm not taking some of the trades that I should have took already. There's some hesitation. I can just see it in myself watching this back. Like there's some hesitation. I'm wanting it to come down a little more, but it's not. So it's like not as reactive as I should be. And that's going to end up costing me here. So again, entry there at 14, right? There's just a 10-cent spread. Can we be back in and watch this thing curl up? It's going to bounce right again. Can sell something on the ask. Save the other half for a potential bigger move with tight stops. So if we fast forward again, right? So and here's another thing that I'm just out of rhythm. I'm just out of rhythm. We had a pullback at this level twice. I usually never take the third time at the same place. Here I am taking the third time in this place of like 1390. Usually the third time it's like you kind of you gotta be. It's not that it always will flush below, but it's like, man, the level is being stressed. You gotta be careful here. We could come down lower and then maybe bounce. So it's another area where I saw a lot of red, and I'm like, man, I got to be grateful to be out break even is what I'm telling myself here, because I'm in so high versus the low. This turns out to be another botch trade, and it's like just botch trade after botch trade after botch trade, which is why I did not size up at all right here. And that was a smart move up until, let's see. And I started to feel pretty good, right? So there's a small win in there from like 60s level. Maybe like what was this? Like maybe a scratch trade. 59 to 80. Didn't take the 20 cents. I'm going to stop out flat. It's going to come down lower. And right here, I also was going to buy and hesitated, man. So again, I think the poor trading just led to some, a breach, let's say. It led to a breach where I'm just not being as aggressive as I should be in every area that is presented to me. And again, I'm green on the rest of the day. So it's not like I'm just red, everything down 2K already. Should have been more confident here, knowing that hey, okay, I'm not doing super well right now, but it's a good day so far. We got a good cushion. Gotta be more assertive in those areas. And right here, I hesitate for 36. This is going to come down to about 36. And this is going to be the depths of me here. 34 or 33. Right here, I'm like, should I buy it? I look at the 5-minute chart. The 5-minute chart still looks good. But there's this thing in my mind saying, man, we are pulling back from the 200 EMA. This might just be backside. Do I really want to take this extended dip? And I opt to say, you know what? I'm not going to take it. Give this thing 5 seconds right here. Look at what happens. If I'm in a 30 by 45, give this thing 5 seconds. Man. 80, 85, 90, 14. And right there in my head, like this kind of plays with me a little bit because it's like, God, it's like, damn it, man. Like, again, the other side of my mind, that fork in the road, the analysis. The chart looks strong, but we are pulling back from the 200 EMA, which is a known area that we can see resistance. Do I take this decent looking dip, or do I negate it because we're pulling back from a key resistance area? And I opted to say, hey, this might just be backside, leave this thing alone. And what does it do? It bounces up and slaps me across the face. And it's like, man, that trade would have put me back to flat, or maybe even green, depending on where I would have sold. And I did have 1,000 shares in the order entry, so say I got filled 40, 45, selling up at 80, 90 area, 14 area. And actually, I would have at least sold half because it would have been such a low dip. I'd have been looking to scale out half, and then maybe like over 14. So right here, again, it just looks like I'm out of rhythm. I'm thinking part of my mind, I'm thinking it might just go all the way from this move, but watching it, it's like, man, we just came from freaking 30 to 97 to 14. Buying here is just too risky. It's just too risky, is what it is. Like, this is where I want to be unwinding that trade that I would have took down there. So I think being a little bit more patient for a proper dip would have been better. And it dipped all the way to the low of the move, which definitely threw me off. Dipping to the low of the move threw me off right there. So at this point, it's like full analysis paralysis because I'm thinking maybe it wants to go. We should see a tight pullback. It gives a bigger pullback right back to those lows. And I'm just all out of whack right here. Now, time to fast forward. So in this area above 1350, it started to remind me of the stock yesterday that gave the big move when it was at $15 or 16, somewhere there. And I'm going to try a couple times in here for this type of breakout, but I'm just not going to be able to capture it. And even right here, I'm watching because I know this thing can go. I think I might throw out a trade or two in here to see if it does get through 50. Nothing, no buying at the level. So I'm still watching. I'm going to throw out a few more trades. And, at this point on the day, I'm still feeling pretty confident in the overall that I could get back to green if I tighten up. We're over 50. It's not immediate. It's back below the level. So I'm like, okay, I'll cut it flat. But I'm watching here to keep trying. Because if it goes, we can just start ripping up. So I'm going to try again. But again, same thing. Right? It's just lingering and churning here. 55 by 40. And a little indecisive. I'm going to try again. Again. I'm going to buy again somewhere here. And look at how I'm going to lose money, right? Look at this. Right here. I think I'm going to go long again. There was a small seller, it looked like, for a second there. And I'm buying this aggressively because I'm thinking we're breaking over highs. Short sellers should be covering. So I'm back in again. I'm going again. Getting in again. And it pushes up. There's some nice green hitting the tape. I'm not sure why I didn't sell up there at 80. I should have sold. I should have sold that for a couple cents. Or maybe I'm thinking it's gonna rip. I don't know. Something like, something along those lines. I should have sold that for a couple cents gain though. For at least, let's look back at that. At least like a 15-cent gain. I could have sold that there. 60. Yeah. So as I was getting in, there was a small seller, but because there was so much volume coming in, this seller's gonna get evaporated here. Right there, man. Pushing up towards 80. I should have been trying to hit the sell button. 64 to about 85, 75, Especially if it would have pushed through 90 area, we could have gotten that fill right up at like 90, 95. So instead of selling, I'm not sure why I did not take it. But again, I think part of me might have been thinking this thing is going to take off. But it's going to come back down and I'm going to get stopped out. That's a fair trade, I think, for what I was thinking for the move. Yeah, but I'm going to try again. I'm going to try again here. I'm watching this breakout like a hawk. And I think we can go. And notice how it's holding like 40 and 50 here. It's not really coming below the level. I really thought this thing was going to go, man. There's a massive spread at times, 70 by 60 and 50. So I'm going to skip ahead here. Let's see. Hold up. I'm going to try 69 area again. Notice that I'm not taking the 40 area dip here. There might have been a hidden buyer here, but I was pretty skeptical of it, man. I was just looking to catch the move as it was just going to rip through 14, well, 15 rather. But turns out, I mean, I might as well have been buying here because despite showing some red in the tape down there, it's like not dropping. Hold up. So here comes the big loss. So again, I'm going to try for the breakout again here. I'm going to try again. I'm going to keep trying this area. I'm going to try again. I'm just going to keep trying. Because I know right here is when I started to think, finally. Finally. That's what I told myself in my head. Finally. But looking back at it, it's like so obvious, that it wasn't going to go, because if it was going to go, it would have went. Right? And that sounds pretty easy to say, but I mean, look at what the stock just did for the last 4 or 5 minutes. 80, 40, 70, 50, 80, 40, 85, 40. Now we went from about 60 to 15. If this doesn't go, I need to be very careful because it might just go right back down to 40, right? This is hindsight. So trying to sell up there into the push, it's already kind of coming down a little bit, but it's going to hold high at like 60. And I'm going to think, you know what? This thing is going to give it the immediate retest and rip through. I don't know why I don't know why I was so like I don't know. I have no idea why I was so aggressive here. But that's what my mindset was. It's like, hey, yes. We finally pushed up to 15 with some good green. Now we're really going to see the real move. This is just a quick baby pullback to then rip right through 15. When in actuality, I'm ignoring the fact that we've pulled back to like 40 every single time. So if I'm going to at least look for a dip, I need to look at like 50, 40 area. But right here, I'm going to say, yes, it's time to go crazy. It's time to go to the moon. I'm going to buy big boy size. If I had bought right here, fair. I bought this, look like this shit is so freaking avoidable. Like, fucking hell. It's so avoidable looking back at it. The bot store in the depths, but a poor trade. You gotta be able to look back at this stuff and call yourself out. So I'm down about 800 at the time. We take this disgusting loss here, and I'm selling where I should be buying, in the bottom of this panic flush. I should have been buying 2,500 shares right here, 1404 by 1418. Instead, I'm selling my beautiful shares to somebody else that was more patient, that read the setup better, to realize, hey, every time we come up here, we're coming down to 48. Brother. So avoidable, brother. This is why you got to study, because if not, you just think, hey, you got caught in a flush and that's it. But looking back, this was as plain as day that was a terrible trade. And that's how I ended up red. So I tried to trade a little bit of the move up, but once it did break out, it was a bit of a grinding motion. The breakout started from 14. So let's see, which one is it? PRTG. The breakout started from 14. So it was very difficult to get in here if we kind of give these candlesticks some more room here. From 1398, it pushed all the way to 1464. And from 1464, we were, again, it's kind of like the area we had resistance. It pushed up from 1440 to 1564. Now notice that it pulled back to 1440 here, which is a big level that it held up many times before. So again, if you're a trader that was in rhythm and you were patient, you avoided that loss, you caught the dip going and the move going up. Over here, okay, you might have eased off a little bit. Even if you missed this move, you would have been so comfortable with 40 because it worked 100 times right here. You're probably in. Boom, 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 boom. And then you're getting paid. You're getting paid like nobody's business. Because you are in a rhythm, it gives this small pullback. You're confident. You've been green. You don't hesitate. And before you know it, even in this area where it's grinding, all these small baby pullbacks, you're probably capturing every single trade. It doesn't take a lot, man. The fine line, the tightrope walk. I should have done better here. And the way how I saw the stock was not how it really moved. And ultimately, I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't more aggressive towards some of those better areas for dips. It's why I keep saying the word, the phrase really, stay reactive, because being reactive is essentially reacting to what the price action and the charts is showing me, right? Forget some of the other stuff like I think this thing should give a little bit more of a dip, that type of intuition like that. It's like, hey, it's holding here, that's where it's holding, buy. Buy and just keep tight stops. That's the point of keeping a tight stop, so I can buy, sell again, buy, sell again. So what should be another 5k day plus? We're in the depths. Rightfully so, because this wasn't our best performance here. So we deserve to lose to remind us that what we're doing is not easy, and that we got to come with the best of our standards here to do well. So as usual, you guys know what it is. I'm smiling and I'm ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow, allow me to have this dance. Relentless traders ready. Woo! If you're wearing headphones, I'm sorry. Hit that thumbs up. I'm out of here. Stay safe, stay green. Check out the links down below. Pastor will be back.